What is a slang word or phrase? Slang is vocabulary that is used between people who belong to the same social group and who know each other well. Slang is a very informal language. It can offend people if it is used about other people or outside a group of people who know each other well. We usually use slang in speaking rather than writing. Slang normally refers to particular words and meanings but can include longer expressions and idioms. One. In American slang, if someone declares themselves zonked, what are they? Extremely tired. Really hungry. Needs some water. Fixing for a fight. Yes, to be zonked means to be tired. But not regular tired, extremely tired, like, fall asleep while standing up tired. You can get zonked in many ways. An all-night gaming session, a 2-hour CrossFit challenge, or simply partying all night. Time to get some much-needed sleep. 2. What would the slang term creep describe? A disease. A strange person. A cocktail. A special New York hot dog. Now, this is certainly a slang word you should know. While creep means to move slowly, usually while down on all fours, the slang word creep is given to a person who is a bit weird or strange. It can be used in a number of ways, for example, Bob is a creep or Bob gives me the creeps. 3. If a student says they need to cram, what do they plan to do? Spend their last hours before an exam studying. Eat as much as they can. Do their laundry. Go to sleep. Students love leaving their studies to the last minute. At that point, they will spend the few hours before their test cramming. This means trying to get all the knowledge they need into their brain in as little time as possible. 4. Somewhat derogatory, what is an ankle biter? A small dog. A toddler. A small cat. Small zoo animals. It's normally people who don't have kids that will call their friends small children ankle biters. And it certainly is a little derogatory. You won't say it to the parents' faces, that's for sure. And an example of how it may be used? I really don't feel like visiting Tom and Mary. Their ankle biters are so noisy. 5. Which of these American slang terms best describes a couch potato? A person who spends their day eating potato dishes at a diner. A person not moving for hours at a time, often watching TV. A furniture removal expert. None of the above. We all have been couch potatoes at some point or another. Often, on weekends, people will sit on their couches and binge watch TV series. They are best described as couch potatoes. 6. When someone says they have the blues, they are musically inclined, really in love with the Smurfs, feeling depressed, not feeling well. The American slang term, having the blues, has to do with a person's current mood. Essentially, it means that the person is feeling a little depressed and down in spirit. 7. Pigging out means what in American slang? to visit a farm, to eat too much, to not bathe for a month. None of the above. We've all done it, so you probably know what the term pigging out means, right? Yes, to eat too much. Far too much, to the point that you feel ill. It comes from the fact that pigs will eat anything in front of them until it's gone. 8. If you give someone the cold shoulder, what are you doing to them? Ignoring them. Giving them leftovers. Not offering them your jacket when it's cold. None of the above. To give someone the cold shoulder means to ignore them. For example, since he saw me with Darren, Mark is giving me the cold shoulder. The phrase is linked to food. Visitors to a house were given warm food if they were welcome and the cold shoulder of whatever meat had been prepared if they were not. 9. What does the American slang term, hang out, suggest people are doing together? Going mountaineering. Spending time together socially. Taking an obstacle course. None of the above. You surely must have heard this American slang term before. Used in such a manner, hey, let's hang out sometime. Hanging out is just spending time socially together, with no period defined as to how long you hang out for. It's all about relaxing with your buddies. 10. If something is looking choice, it means underscore. It looks terrible. It looks good. It looks broken. None of the above. Choice, in most cases, was meant as a sign of approval. For example, that hairstyle is looking choice today. It could also be used to express envy. Your Camaro is a choice, dude, you're so lucky. 11. What form of transport is a crotch rocket? A car. A motorcycle, often of Japanese origin. A train. A taxi. A crotch rocket is American slang for a road bike of Japanese origin. There were speedy super-styled bikes, not a cruiser or touring bike, for example. 12. A person said to be going Dutch on a date will do what? Kiss on the first date. Pay for their own meal. Leave at their first chance. Pay for the meal. In American slang, going Dutch means that each person pays for their own meal. It is thought that the term comes from the rivalry between England and Holland during the 17th century. It is also called a Dutch date or a Dutch treat. 13. If someone is said to have a bod, what is admired about them? Their body. Their mind. Their car. Their house. Without a doubt, the fitness craze of the 1980s, which saw gyms become popular, led to a lot of bodies. And this was simply a person with a muscular or toned physique. Bods are still popular today. 14. Sorry, I screwed up means underscore. I did something really good for you. I lost your favorite screwdriver. I made a huge mistake. I built you a shed. It's something we have all done at some point, made a big mistake, or in the case of American slang, screwed up. It's a term that can be applied to people as well. For instance, that Mark is such a screw up. 15. What is a meat wagon in American slang? A butcher truck. An ambulance. A fire truck. A police truck. A meat wagon is an ambulance. This is not general American slang but is often used by the police or truckers, for example. 16. Someone who is trashed is what? Dead. Tired. Sleepy. Really drunk. We've seen them and sometimes it may have been us. A trashed person is simply someone who had far too much to drink. We not talking slightly tipsy here, we're talking blind drunk. As in fall over drunk. Probably better that they didn't remember what they did the next morning. 17. If you bail from somewhere, you're doing what in American slang? Paying for someone to be released from prison. Leaving. Going to get a hamburger. Going to the bar. In America, you don't just leave. You bail. For example, let's bail this joint, man, which loosely translated means, let's leave this establishment. And you can bail from everywhere, your home, the mall, or the local diner. You can even bail from jail if you get bailed out, but that's another term for another day. 18. What does the slang word, negatory, mean? Yes. No. Okay. I will be there. Not a very popular slang term with the general American population, negatory, which means no, is used by certain groups. This includes truckers, for example. 19. Chillin' with your homies means what in American slang? Sleeping. Going to visit your grandparents in an old age home. Having supper with your parents. Hanging out with your friends. Chillin' is to modern American slang what hanging out was to 80s American slang. It basically means sitting around, not doing anything much. When you add homies to the equation, well, then you're sitting around with your friends. 20. Totally was a favorite slang term in the 1980s. What meaning did it have? Used to emphasize a word. That you need to eat. That you need to rest. None of the above. Dude, your surfboard is totally awesome. When you needed to emphasize just how cool or lame something was, you can add a totally before your choice of words. It's a total bummer that this answer is finished. See what we did there? 21. If your friend came to you at a party and said let's bounce, what does he want to do? Hook up with other friends at the party. Down a beer. Leave. Jump on the bouncing castle in the garden. Any cool cats from the 1980s knew what it meant to bounce because that's when this term originated. Yes, it had nothing to do with downing a beer and everything to do with leaving. Let's bounce this sad party meant you were leaving. 22. If you are going to ride shotgun in someone's car, where will you sit? In the driver's seat. In the front, next to the driver. In the back. On the roof. Riding shotgun is sitting next to the driver in the front of the car. This comes from the Old West, where a person armed with a shotgun would sit next to the stagecoach driver to provide protection against bandits. If someone is beat, what are they? Injured from a fight. Really tired. Drunk. Hungry. A classic American slang phrase, to be beat means to be really tired. For example, sorry, I can't come out tonight, I was in an all-day strat meeting and I am beat. In monetary terms, what does the American slang term, a buck, mean? A $100 bill. A $10 bill. A dollar. A nickel. Every language has slang terms for money. And in American slang, a dollar is simply known as a buck. This is a pretty well-known slang term. In fact, most people in the Western world would have heard it. In American slang from a few decades ago, if you were told to take a chill pill, then you were expected to take a tablet for a headache. Go get everyone some food. Relax, you are freaking out over nothing. None of the above. This staple of 80s slang was used when you just wanted someone to calm down. Like telling your hysterical friend that her crush would phone her at some point. Denise, take a chill pill. He will phone you after football practice. A slang term used by American truckers all the time, what does copy mean? Understood or do you understand? You need a copy of your truck inventory. A copy of your license and registration. None of the above. Copy is used in a number of ways by American truckers. For example, do you copy? Means do you understand? That's a copy would be a positive affirmation that you understood what the other driver has said. What does the interesting slang term chee'uh mean? Of course. No. Get me a burger. Where is my drink? To pronounce chee'uh, pretend to say cheetah without the T. A popular phrase from the movie, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures, it can be used as an exclamation of approval or excitement. We going to the concert tonight? Chee'uh. Driving me up the wall is an American slang term that indicates You've heard it before. In fact, you may have even used it before. The slang term, "you're driving me up the wall," is a classic that registers a person's irritation with another. An American slang phrase from years gone by: what does gnarly mean? It's missing. Not cool at all. Extremely cruel. None of the above. To a surfer, gnarly means dangerous or difficult to do. To an 80s kid, gnarly was simply cool or awesome. For example, your He-Man action figure is gnarly, dude. The 80s gave us a number of interesting new slang words. What was a zeek? A good sports person. A sexy geek. A dim-witted person. None of the above. If you were a zeek, then you were a hot geek. And that made you attractive to those outside the geek circle. That Martin, he is such a zeek. Do you have his phone number? Is an example of how the word would be used.